Hi, I'm Dan Neefin, staff reporter at Lancaster Online, and I'm with Eric Horst, Millersville University meteorologist. Eric, things have seemed to have gotten a little bit clear that we're going to get a significant snow this starting Friday into Saturday. What's giving you confidence in what you said yesterday?
Right, well, the players are on the field now. The main jet stream disturbance, which was out over the Pacific Ocean yesterday, is now over Idaho. It's going to dip down to the Gulf Coast by tomorrow morning, and then that's when the low pressure center will form and track to the Carolina coast by Saturday morning. That's a classic setup for a big winter storm here in the mid-Atlantic region. There's still some question marks. We can't say precisely the outcome, but our confidence is increasing in a snowfall on the order of 10 to 16 inches in the Lancaster area.
Wow. Do you have a percentage on that confidence level?
I guess I would say there's moderate confidence in the outcome. The big question mark with this storm is a very sharp northern edge. One of the hallmarks of a big winter storm along the East Coast is very often a very sharp drop-off, a gradient in the snowfall along the northern and western edge of the storm. Classic example is the December 2009 storm that impacted the mid-Atlantic in a very similar way to this storm. In that event, you only had to drive north of Harrisburg about 20 miles to find as little as 3 inches of snow, up around upper Dauphin County, north of Duncannon, 3 inches. By the time you drove down to the Mason-Dixon line, say down I-83 to the Mason-Dixon line in southern York, there was 24 inches, and by the time you got to Baltimore, there was 30 inches. So in 100 miles north-south, it went from 3 to 30 inches. That was back in December 2009. This storm, while perhaps not quite that extreme, will have a similar sharp gradient in snowfall, and Lancaster County is right in the midst of that gradient. And hence, if you live down south, you're likely to see more snow than if you live in northern Lancaster County. And of course, a shift in the storm track can have, make a big difference in snowfall as well.
Okay. What's the timing we're looking at for this storm then? Still arriving tomorrow afternoon, early evening?
Yeah, I expect light snow will develop late in the day, maybe towards sunset. So most of the day we should be dry with temperatures around 32 degrees. But the steady snow moves in during the evening. The heaviest snow looks to fall morning to midday Saturday and then tapering off Saturday evening. And winds will be increasing through the period, so there will be blowing and drifting in places that see all snow. As you head towards the coast, there'll be some sleet that mixes in. That'll help hold down the snow, make it heavier or wetter. I'm thinking from I-95 south and east, that'll be the case. Back here in Lancaster, it should be mainly snow. The question is how much, of course, that falls, and I'm thinking 10 to 16, the most likely outcome. Of course, the storm is still 2-3 days out. Those numbers could change up or down somewhat.
Let's see here. It doesn't sound like you're thinking there's much of a chance, though, that this will miss us. Sounds like we're on the line for,
right,
maybe a little more, a little less snow, but you're not thinking this is a miss.
Yeah, we should see snow. I would say with 90% confidence, we're going to get something out of this storm. But again, knowing that sharp northern edge, I'll tell you, Dan, I've been in this business 30 years. I've seen many, many big snowstorms in my forecasting career, and those sharp northern edges are pesky, and they present bust potential, as we say in the business. Storm sets up, let's say 200 miles farther south, we get very little here. I don't think that's going to happen, but you have to recognize that there's a small chance of that.
Okay. Talk to me a bit about this European modeling. It's something I'm not really familiar with, but you see people mentioning all the time,
right.
Oh, the European models are showing X, Y, and Z.
There are many different forecasting models that we look at. These computer models are numerical simulations of the atmosphere. They're input with a tremendous amount of data globally, and then the model tries to predict how the jet stream will move, where storms will form and decay, and where heavy rain and snow will fall. But they are imperfect in a big way. So when you're looking at the different computer models, as an experienced forecaster, over time, over years and decades of experience, you learn to recognize biases in the model. You learn to recognize what they do well and what they do poorly, and you also get to recognize who the rock stars are among the forecasting models. And that is the European model. That's the British global forecast model. We get to look at it here in the United States, just as they get to look at our models, and their model is really the state of the art, and has higher skill scores. So it's like rating quarterbacks. The European model has the highest quarterback rating when it comes to winter storms. Right now, as we're looking at things, it's not too different from the American simulations, the American models, though the European model does resolve a very tight northern gradient in that snowfall, and that's piqued my attention. And I've been telling the students all day, that is the bust potential with this storm, is just where the heaviest snow will set up and how fast it drops off on the northern side.
Okay. Let's see here. What else was I wondering? But I guess if we're going to get a winter storm, the weekend is probably about the best time to get it. So no school effect. People should be able to get home in time Friday night, so it's not affecting rush hour, and maybe stay tight Saturday.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the worst time to travel would be Friday evening through probably Sunday morning. Even though the storm winds down Saturday evening, I do anticipate blowing and drifting that would, continue to kind of slow the cleanup, especially on back roads heading into Sunday. And temperatures will be below freezing throughout. Not bitter cold, but cold enough for mainly a snowstorm here in the Lancaster area. Anybody traveling from New York to Philly, to DC, all the way down into the mountains of North Carolina and back into the mountains of West Virginia, you're going to be seeing a good deal of snow. And one thing, where does the heaviest snow fall? Well, that's still a bit up for debate, but right now I'm thinking perhaps the western suburbs of Baltimore and Washington, back into, say, Loudoun County, and likely back into the mountains of eastern West Virginia, like Snowshoe, West Virginia, the ski area. If you're a skier, head there on Sunday or Monday. You might have 3 feet of snow.
Right. The National Weather Service did issue, was it a blizzard watch or warning for the Baltimore and DC area? What exactly are the ingredients of a blizzard? I know cold weather is one of them. What's the temperature there? You said we're going to be not super cold.
Right. Well, there is no temperature criteria for a blizzard anymore. That went away years ago. The ingredients for a blizzard are wind, high winds, 35 miles per hour sustained for 3 hours or longer, and low visibility because of blowing snow and falling snow of a quarter mile or less for 3 hours. So those are the criteria you have to meet. A lot of people loosely use the term blizzard for any storm that produces a lot of snow, but really there is no snow criteria. In fact, you could have a blizzard when it's not snowing at all. If it's blowing and drifting and the winds and the visibility meet the criteria, you have a ground blizzard on your hands. Now, this time around, it's a snowstorm blizzard that we're looking for. And again, that's not a lock that there's going to be blizzard conditions. If this system forms a little weaker and farther out to sea, that may not happen. But the Weather Service likes to put their watches out 48 hours in advance. And since they're looking at snow developing in the DC area Friday afternoon, it made sense, I guess, for them to issue that blizzard watch here on midday Wednesday. I think the local National Weather Service, who issues watches for us here in the Susquehanna Valley, that's the State College office, they will probably issue some type of a winter storm watch this evening, again, 48 hours in advance of the starting time, which is Friday evening. And who knows, maybe in extreme southeastern PA, maybe even here in Lancaster at some point, that would become a blizzard watch. But again, that sharp northwestern edge makes that an uncertain thing to issue at this stage of the game. And tomorrow, things could look differently tomorrow. So,
what type of winds do you think, what wind speeds do you think we might see with this storm? You said it will be windy, but...
Right. Well, I think 10 to 20 miles per hour sustained is quite likely Friday night into Saturday, and even after the storm, Saturday night into early Sunday. So 10 to 20 is enough to cause significant blowing and drifting, especially if you get a big snowfall. Whether it would meet that blizzard criteria, the storm would have to be strong enough and close enough to the coast to get the pressure gradient back into our neck of the woods to create those 35 mile per hour sustained. I think gusts of 35 are possible. I'm just not sure we would meet the criteria officially on the wind. So, but again, if we get, a foot and a half of snow, let's say, and some big drifts, a lot of people will call it a blizzard, even if it doesn't meet the criteria. And you know what? I don't really have a problem with that. I'm a stickler to detail, but a crippling storm, a lot of people just refer to generally as a blizzard, and I'm not going to nitpick on that.
Layman's terms.
Layman's terms, yeah.
Will you have another update, or is this pretty much what you're sticking with? Or are you going to continue to watch the model and?
Oh no, these things, these storms aren't over until the last flake falls. And again, I've been in this business long enough to know that there are surprises even after the snow begins. So 10 to 16, that's my official forecast as what I feel is the most likely outcome here. Again, with this sharp northwestern edge to the storm, a slight shift north or south can really make a big difference and compel me to change those numbers in the future, though I don't anticipate having to do that anytime soon. So. All
right, well, we will check in, and to stay on top of this storm forecast and potential changes, follow at Lancaster Online. And Eric, where should they follow you?
The best place is Twitter, at MU Weather, and also visit our website. If you Google Millersville Weather Center, that'll lead you into our Weather Information Center website, where I also post some graphical products and some more detailed weather discussions as the storm approaches. You can only fit so much detail in a little Twitter tweet. So, visit our website if you're interested in following the storm more closely. And you can even submit your snowfall reports there once the event begins. So.
Okay, well, everyone, thanks much. We're signing off. Eric, thanks, and have a good day.
Yeah, you're welcome, Dan.